If your cash flow looks fine on paper, but your nervous system doesn't agree, you're second guessing your decisions and wondering if you're going to break your business, this episode is for you. In this video, we're going to talk about why high earning business owners feel financial pressure even when they have money sitting in the bank. So I want you to tell me if this client story sounds at all familiar to you. You can comment under this video or even just DM me on Instagram at It's Sarah Young. I want to know if you've ever felt like this business owner. So to illustrate the point of this episode, I was thinking about clients, and this one came to mind where she has multiple six figures in her business's bank account sitting in cash, and she is still worrying constantly about whether she's making the right moves. She worries about hiring a team, and she ends up as a result working herself to the ground, being the primary point of contact for basically all of their clients and carrying a very heavy load. You would think that once you have 100K plus saved up in the bank, you are going to feel financially secure. But I've got to tell you that I have seen multiple examples of women with anywhere from 50K to 500K saved up in their business's bank account, and they still feel a really heavy pressure on themselves. And they worry about making the wrong move for their business, which is why they reach out to me and my team in the first place. This fear, I think, is one that I really would love to help you solve, because I see this fear being the thing that keeps women from scaling up to 7 figures or more in their business, because they have this pressure at multi-six figures, and they think about increasing that pressure even more to get to 7 figures. And they're just like, I have no interest in this heaviness. This feels heavy to me. I think it's also what I have seen multiple cases of either inquiries coming in that we haven't worked with before, or people who come in and they work with us, but it's too late for us to be able to turn things around quickly. And they've got multi-7 figure businesses that they've built up, and they end up having to scale it drastically down to reset before trying again. I really hate to see it, because you don't have to have a 7-figure business to have wealth. But I think that scaling up your business, getting yourself out of the day-to-day and getting it to a point where you're making a high income is the thing that is going to lead to financial and time freedom, without you having to take the approach of like skimping on pennies and like trying to, house hack your way to fire, which is what I see, side note, like a lot of podcasts and things talking about, like, how do we cut back and spend as little as we can in order to save as much as we can, which is totally fine if that's your approach, but that's just not the way that I want to live my life along the way, which is why I've designed my business the way that I have. So let's talk about what causes this feeling of, even when you have money in the bank, you still just are worrying about making the wrong decisions and burning your business to the ground. I think number one, this happens when business owners are managing their businesses and managing their money without a map, without a roadmap. They don't have really good insight into where their business is going, how much things are going to cost, how much runway they really do have. So you can have $100,000 in the bank and you have no idea, is this going to last me a year or is it going to last me a month? I think there's also mindset issues at play, especially that compound when you don't have a plan and you don't have a sense of your runway, where you're like, what if these are the last $100,000 that I ever make? And so therefore they have to last me not just the next month or even not just the next year, but forever. And then I can't make any bigger picture decisions on how to compound my money, because I'm never going to make any more, right? This is your scarcity mindset coming up. But if you don't have a good sense of not only what's coming in and what's sustainable for your business where it's at, but how the decisions that you're making and the strategy that you have for your business is going to impact your money, it is going to be really hard to feel comfortable with what you have in the bank and feel comfortable making those decisions. I'd say the other thing that causes this feeling of financial pressure, even with money in the bank, is overwhelm and decision fatigue. So as your business grows, you have more moving parts, you have more people asking you questions, you have what used to feel like a $500 decision now feels like a $50,000 decision, and it feels heavier. There's just more, right? There's more that can cause overwhelm, especially when combined with a lack of a roadmap. And going along with this, I would say too that lifestyle creep definitely happens as revenue increases. And I mean lifestyle creep both in terms of how much money business owners will take out of their business. And I see so many business owners who will start using their business's bank account to pay for all their personal stuff rather than paying themselves a paycheck. And I would say that lifestyle creep of like, oh, I'm all of a sudden making 100K months. I'm going to start buying all this extra stuff out of my business rather than having that plan, rather than creating a budget. I don't love the word budget, but like a spending plan and cash flow plan. You just start spending and then you drain the money in your bank account, which then makes you even more confused about how long the money that you bring in is going to last you in your business. But lifestyle creep can also happen just with business expenses, right? I've had it happen to me where, our revenue increases, we hire more team members, we pay for more programs, we get coaching, we start buying some things that I would say are not necessarily necessary business expenses. They're more discretionary. And I think that also kind of plays into the lifestyle creep. But all of it is really leading to more overwhelm and just decision fatigue, right? Like, how can you feel comfortable making these decisions that feel like $50,000 decisions if you're already worn out from the number of decisions you have to make with everything else throughout the day? And if every decision in your business runs through you, of course it feels heavy. Of course your nervous system feels like it's carrying a lot, which makes you want to hold on tight and have like a really tight death grip on any money that you have. So let's talk about how we fix it and how you go from feeling heavy financial pressure as your business grows, as the dollar amounts coming in and out of your bank account increase, to feeling more peaceful and increasing your capacity for making more money. Number one, I would say, is build your skill set. If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you were so confident in your abilities as a business owner to go and make it work, whatever happens, whatever curveball gets thrown at you, your nervous system is going to feel safer. Rather than doubting your ability to figure it out, doubting your ability to say, hey, we're going to run out of money in the next 2 weeks if I don't go make a sale, right? If that happens to you and you don't have the skill set to turn around and make a sale, of course it's going to feel really scary. But if you have the skill set, if you acknowledge where your skill set has gaps right now, whether it's in sales, whether it's in money, wherever it is, right? If you acknowledge those gaps and then do the work to build the skill, then I think, to me, this is the approach I like to take for my business. I think it becomes more fun. I think it becomes more of a challenge of watch me rise to the occasion rather than being afraid of getting thrown a curveball. And to me, I think that feels like a way more light and fun and playful way to run a business than being stressed out about not being able to make ends meet if something throws you off course. Number two is build in more predictability. So we work with a lot of creative types. We have a good bit of like marketing type business owners as clients. And I get a lot of pushback from the creative types. I'm not a creative type. I mean, I am on some level. I think you have to be a business owner, but I'm not a self-professed creative type like a lot of our clients are. And I get a lot of pushback from these clients specifically around planning and structure and predictability, because they like to use their creativity and they feel like when things are too structured that it's going to inhibit their flexibility and their creativity. My argument is that when you have predictability, when you know that the baseline is set, the foundation is set, and you're covered either way, then it gives you so much more brain space to think about new, fun, creative things. Versus if things are chaotic, if you wake up every day and you have no idea whether you're going to be able to pay the bills or not, can you operate at your fullest expression? Probably not. So build in more predictability to your business, whether that is through monthly recurring revenue. One of my favorite business strategies is to build up my monthly recurring revenue baseline to cover all of my expenses so I don't ever have to worry about paying all the bills. Whether that is long-term contracts, or it could just be if you have the type of business that doesn't lend itself as well to monthly recurring revenue or long-term contracts. Just getting really comfortable with your lead generation process so that you can be confident that you've got the system in place to continually bring in leads and then sell them into your offers. So build in more predictability. The last one is probably the one that my clients, when I say this to them, they like it the least, but it's one of my best mindset and energy hacks. And that is to stop being afraid of the worst case scenario. So when we think about, we have money in the bank and we're afraid that we're never going to make any more money again. And what are we going to do? We're operating from a place of fear and scarcity, right? What if instead, if you said, you know what if the worst case did happen? What if this was the last dollar that I make in this business? And what if I had to shut it down and go try something new? What if instead of thinking that was going to be the end of the world and it's going to mean all of these things about us as a person, what if we said, you know what? I welcome this happening, which I know might seem like a stretch. Obviously, we don't want our businesses to fail, but realistically speaking, your business might not fail, but I bet that in 5 years, if you're still running your business, your offers are going to look different. The way that you serve customers is going to be different. And so things are going to change. And so knowing that things are probably going to change anyways, why are we holding on so tightly to this idea that we have in our head right now? And why are we so afraid to let it go? I mean, I know why we're afraid is because our brains are structured to keep us safe, et cetera, et cetera. But realistically, what if you said, you know what? I welcome the opportunity to have these things fail around me. It's not going to mean anything about me as a person. It's just going to show me what I'm capable of, and it's going to provide me with more learning opportunities. But if we can stop being so afraid of the worst case thing happening, and then also having confidence in our skill set to figure it out, then I think that future potential scenario is going to lose so much power over you in the present moment. And real talk, even if your business does fail, my business has not failed, but I have made really bad investments. I have made really bad decisions. At the time, they weren't bad decisions, but they just didn't work out the way that I thought they would. And I have seen clients go through the same thing. I refuse to believe it means anything about me as a person, as a business owner, as an advisor. Just like if you had the same thing happen to you, I would not think poorly of you as a person. And frankly, anybody else who does think poorly of you for taking the risk and failing, they're not worth the time anyways. Okay. So stop being afraid of the worst case scenario. So in last week's episode, I said, you don't need more money, you need more margins. And today I'm going to say, you don't need more money, you need more clarity. If we have more clarity about where we're going, about having a plan for our business, and more predictability in the way your business is set up, and more confidence in your ability to always figure it out, when you have more of that, your business is going to feel more peaceful. And without it, you're going to constantly feel like your business could disappear tomorrow. If this episode resonated with you and you're ready to do something about it, then I will invite you to book a Profit Clarity Assessment with me and my team. The Profit Clarity Assessment is built for high-earning women who are ready to scale their income with confidence instead of chaos. And in the assessment, you're going to answer some questions for us in our intake form, provide your financials. My team and I will assess what you give us, and then we will have a one-on-one to review what we see for your business so we can give you a sense of what your plan looks like, where you might be losing money, and ultimately just what's draining you, what is causing you to feel that financial pressure, and your next steps to fixing it. So you can book an assessment at trustyoungco.com/PCA. And that's all I've got for this week, y'all. I'll see you back next time.